Oh, hello. My name is Ademola Adisa. You are welcome to Demo in Diaspora. This is a forum where we discuss issues about Africa and Nigeria in particular. The issue that we'll be discussing today is about the Nigerian Petroleum Regulatory Minister, Commissioner, or CFO, or CEO, what they call Farouk uh, Ahmed. Farouk Ahmed is the regulatory officer of Nigeria Medium Streams and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. This is the forum, the body that regulates the refineries and the marketers of petroleum products in Nigeria. As we are aware, we have Dangote, Aliko Dangote, the most the richest man in Africa and the owner of the largest single stream petroleum refinery in the world, a, a $28 billion establishment that was established in Lagos, Nigeria. From inception of its establishment, this company has been facing a lot of obstacles from the regulatory authority rather than meeting support, especially from Farouk Ahmed. The issue reached a climax a few days ago when Aliko Dangote accused Farouk Ahmed of corruption and sabotaging of Nigeria economy through its regulatory abuse of its regulatory power. He has called on the Independent Complaint Corrupt Practice Commission to investigate the ICPC to investigate the conduct and assets of Farouk Ahmed. In his press conference, Aliko Dangote called the attention of the commission to the fact that Farouk Ahmed, despite being a civil servant and employee of government, he is having five of his children studying abroad in Switzerland, where he's paying more than $5 million for their education. It calls the attention of the Corrupt Practice Commission to investigate how a civil servant that is earning less than $50 million a year, I mean $50 million a year to be having, you'll be able to finance such an expensive education fee without being recourse to fraud or hanky-panky. So, because of this pressure, uh, yesterday, Farouk Ahmed resigned, and the president has also forwarded the name of a replacement to the National Assembly. Today, I will be looking in depth into these allegations and practices at Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority or agency. What exactly, what exactly are their their practices, and is their practices justify the economic development of Nigeria? Is it working for Nigeria economy or is it working against Nigeria economy? Please, I will implore you to please bear with us. Take the time. We will go deep, deep, deep and try and watch to the end. If you don't watch to the end, you will not see the end of the of the analysis and why his sacking or his resignation is justified. So, welcome again to Diaspora at the Ademola or Demo in Diaspora. Again, my name is Ademola Adisa. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment on this on our issues on our productions. Now, the the, the climax of this was because recently NMDPRA announced that he has approved a 7.5 billion liters of petrol imports for first quarter of 2026, despite the fact that the local refinery is able to supply and currently supplying more than 23 million liters daily. This has caused concern by the refiner, which is Dangote Refinery, as an act of undermining the development and activities of the local production of petrol in Nigeria. The concern raised include the quality of the product that is being imported, especially from from Russia. This quality is substandard and below the regulatory Euro 5 that was sanctioned by Nigeria Regulatory Authority. And also because this dumping of substandard fuel to Nigerian airport is by Russia through its depot in Lomé in Togo is also a contradiction and a violation of the UN sanction. UN and US sanction on Russia's uh, fuel or petrol exports, which this is contrary to Nigerian diplomatic relationship and alliance with the United States. It also creates a lot of price distortion in the market, not only because of the quality, but also because the pricing, the cost of production are not actually factored into the pricing to make room for the local uh, refineries. It's also a disincentive to investment and also a sabotage of the local refinery in a way that will also affect Nigeria economy. These are the major concerns of uh, Aliko Dangote. Now, let's look into deeply into each of these concerns. So bear with me when I show you. Let's go into the document and bear with me. Now, Aliko Dangote, in his complaint, have expressed his concern about the import license, the import licensing. This is an excessive licensing that it's meant to affect, it's meant to flood substandard and cheap fuel, petrol, to be dumped into Nigerian market. This is meant to undermine the local productions that are meeting the Euro 5 standard that have been that is the requirement of a petroleum petrol product in Nigeria. This also, the fuel quality also as I said, is substandard, and if it's also capable of arming vehicles and engine and creating public health, which will also affect the health of Nigerians. The pricing mechanism is also not being factored into. It doesn't express the established cost relative pricing with parities for local imported fuel. This will create also unfair competition. The verification and oversight were also being lacking. The NMDPRA are very much skeptical about output capacity of Dangote. They were silent. They failed to get the accurate and production capacity of Dangote to justify their attempt or the licensing for importation to meet a local demand. In accordance with Dangote, its production is so much capable of meeting all needs of Nigeria, and is also even exporting this product because it was being restrained with the fuel distribution in Nigeria. So it's also this has affected the trust in the NMDPRA, and also for its lack of transparency, and also bias towards the marketers that are importing this product from abroad. It's also opened up the question about the country's strategic reserve to buffer up any depletion of stock in production at any period of time, rather than embarking on importation at all time. NMDPRA has refused to cooperate with local producers to develop these national strategic stock reserves to mitigate against arbitrary price increase. It's also affected the modular refinery, the small scale modular refineries that are also being working and that are provided with a tax incentive, but to take off, but they are unable to take off because of the dumping of these products in Nigeria market, and these are affecting their operations and the development. In the light of this, also, it also exhibits the collusion of Farouk Ahmed and the NMDPRA connivance with marketers and to sabotage the local refinery, mostly Dangote Refinery, and the importer that is collaborating with the importers to sabotage the local refinery. So this has really brought out a complete breakdown of trust in the regulatory authority, and it's also called for serious concern. So it's not strange that the president has weighed in with the resignation of Farouk Ahmed because of this sensitive situation. Mind you, uh, the Dangote Refinery has been identified and also uh, recognized by the National Assembly and Nigeria uh, as a strategic plant, as a strategic, very strategic to the economy, and need to be protected as a national asset. Any effort to diminish or to sabotage the effort of this refinery will be is being strongly uh, weighed off. So now let's go back. Let's see how this has also. Let's now, having identified this, what are the reasons? Why is justification? What are the justification for uh, Farouk Ahmed to uh, make these practices or issue out these licenses, these exorbitant and multifarious licenses, which are capable of undermining Dangote Refinery and the local production of petroleum in Nigeria? And why is Farouk Ahmed prioritizing marketers who are importing inferior and substandard goods, petrol, who are not ready to invest in Nigeria petroleum industry by engaging, by also having their own refinery, even if it's also modular refineries? Why are they hell-bent in sabotaging the effort of government to stop importation and to encourage local production of petroleum products in Nigeria? Now, what is his justification? Now, let's look at what he meant. One of his justifications is the fact that he is trying to protect the market from being monopolized by one refinery. Farouk Ahmed has been in that position since 2021. All along, since the inception of petroleum production in Nigeria, NNPC, now NNPCL, has been the dominant and the monopoly of petroleum in Nigeria for ages, for decades. And since he was even appointed as well, he saw nothing wrong in NNPC monopolizing, being a monopoly. And because NNPC is not only the license issuer, is also the supplier, is also the refiner, it's all in all in petroleum industry in Nigeria. Why is Dangote Refinery who is able to support and also uh, close the supply gap that have been left behind by the liquidation or ineffective or inoperational refineries that we have in Nigeria. Under him, he failed to revive the NMPC refineries, the three NFEC or four NFEC refineries, both Kaduna, Port Harcourt, the two Port Harcourt one and the Warri ones, despite the billions of dollars that were allocated to it. Why is his priority not in seeing to the production of local product? Why is he emphasizing much on importation rather than local production of petroleum products in Nigeria? And what is the stand of the Petroleum Industry Act in this situation? Now, let's look furthermore into these issues. In addressing it, I will want us to look into those issues one by one. Now, let me be prior to this year's uh, obstacles. Since its inception, Dangote Refinery have been faced with a lot of obstacles from this regulatory body. In 2022, its clearance for operation was delayed. It was delayed. Nigeria delays this market entry clearance for refined production, blocking its domestic production. If we can recall, we faced a lot of obstacles in the beginning in forming its own production and distribution network, which was highly resisted by NMDPRA together with some unions in the petroleum industry. Also, we can also remember that there was false allegation of the quality of Dangote's products by NMDPRA, who falsely stated that the product from Dangote Refinery was substandard when the NDPRA doesn't even have a laboratory for testing the quality of any of the product that is even imported or that is produced locally. Whereas Dangote has the most sophisticated and modern technology, testing lab, which he has invited the NDPRA to visit and also to come and see. And also, we also make it available for them to be able to test from other products that are being imported if they meet a regulatory standard. Since inception, Farouk Ahmed has failed to visit Dangote Refinery, despite being the most important refinery under its regulatory agency. Also, when it was in 2023, when it was about to be to go into the market, import licenses were issued, just like what it did this recently, to importers for petrol imports, which are also meant to dilute local production and market. This is also a issue of concern. These obstacles also prevented Dangote from actually able to cover the market as expected. There was also misrepresentation by NMDPRA about the products evacuated from facility, distorting actual output rate. Despite the fact that Farouk failed to visit Dangote Refinery, it also it also uh, was making false allegation about the quantity of products, the volume of products that was being being distributed, that had been produced. What it did is to undermine Dangote production level is to count only products that were sold, that were issued out, not taking recognizance of the stocks, the millions of liters in stocks that were in the Dangote reservoir. This unfair and false presentations give him justification to issue license to meet up the shortages, when in actual fact there are more than enough production that are available to meet the whole market by Dangote Refinery. Also, pricing of the refinery was also delayed, and we told approval for pricing for the refined petrol and slowing the distributions of Dangote products to the filling stations. This is an act that actually was very detrimental to the takeoff of Dangote Refinery. Now, what are these obstacles uh, implication? As I say, because of this clearance delay, it also, because we have to continue, because of the issue, the license that is issued, Nigeria continued to import more. Nigeria continued to import more petroleum, which is a drain on our foreign exchange reserve. The product that's supposed to have been bought in Naira, we are using our scarce and foreign exchange to import this, which invariably will also affect the valuation of our currency. These pressures will fail to relieve the Dangote, which is meant to relieve the pressure on foreign exchange, is being sabotaged, and is being and activities is being undermined in order to allow for importation and the use of our scarce resources of foreign currency. And with this increase, this actually creates inflations because of the importation. And also, this will also create a price increase and actual protection of price, especially with the value, the up and down of the value of the US dollar. Also, it also created distribution bottlenecks because all these are also factored in into distribution cost towards the pricing of petroleum in the station pump. Why why is action the action of NMDPRA favoring petrol importers? In fact, this excessive import license is show very much leniency and unmet on verified quality of fuel and also enforcement of regulatory power. And this is in contrary to the Petroleum Industry Act, which is meant to protect to protect local production and facilitate our withdrawal of from importing petrol from abroad. Lenient also fuel petrol quality because of its being issue of multiple import licenses. It disregard the quality of the petrol products that are being brought into Nigeria. This also, the also is act of delaying the pricing approval for Dangote, give this importation laxity and leniency, so which is showing a lot of favorism towards the petroleum importer or marketer. Likewise, it's also is also ensuring that minimum purchase of Dangote is being done because it doesn't allow Dangote. Its activities disallow Dangote from expanding distribution of these products throughout Nigeria. It's also its data misrepresentation by under the mining or not being given the accurate production of Dangote, give also justification for its actions towards the importation by the marketer. And he also based this on his regulatory authority as a person being responsible for monitoring or regulating importations and production of petroleum products in Nigeria. But the question is this his power that was given to him, was it being used judiciously, fairly? And let's look at that. Actually, its excessive importation is favored the marketers, which is a violation of the Petroleum Industry Act. The PIA was meant to, its authority that was given to the Nigerian NMDPRA is to gradually reduce importation of petrol and not to sustain or escalate it. So it's a great violation. Also, its leniency towards quality enforcement also favor the marketers, which is also a violation of the PRA. As I said as well, its delay pricing approval for Dangote also favor the marketers, which is also very putting the risk at a high risk, the liquefaction of petrol and also the taking off of operation of Dangote, which is a very much abuse of regulatory power. The minimum purchase also favors the marketers, and also the data. This also violates PIA, and also the misrepresentation of data is also a total act of dishonesty and partiality. Now, all these actions, why is all these action tends to favor the marketers that are importing products from another country, that is favoring their own employment, why is not encourage employment of Nigerians and production and of Nigerians in of this product? Why is this using our scarce and very limited foreign exchange for this purpose? And is this is responsibility? And this begs to question, who is he actually representing? Is it representing Nigeria, or is he representing his own vested interest? It's really an act of sabotage, an act of abuse of power, and an act of corruption in the real sense of it. So it is a good radiance to rubbish for him to have resigned now, and hoping that the new CEO will be a more responsible and a transparent and fair authority person that be follow in line with Nigerian law, especially with the Petroleum Industrial Act. Now, let's go further to see what part of the act are being violated by the activities of NMDPRA under the leadership of Farouk Ahmed. If we remember, now, this act of Farouk has shown blatant conflict of interest. And this conflict of interest have a serious risk on Nigeria economy and the sustenance of petroleum industry in Nigeria. This is also a gross violation of the intention of the Petroleum Industrial Act. The leniency is also that was given also a medium risk, where the weakening of domestic uh, production and competitions was also a medium risk. He failed to even provide good oversight and also to audit, at least to audit Dangote's refinery products and production. It's almost 2 years now since Dangote has started production since the 2023. Yet, the NMDPRA refused to visit to ascertain and audit its actual production and assets. Now, the issue about his children studying abroad and spending $5 million, over more than 5 million, up to 7 million, or if not more, dollar on school fees is a serious security risk of connivance with marketers. It means it's benefiting from these people and also using its influence to enrich himself and to undermine the integrity of Nigeria Petroleum. This is a serious conflict of interest and the detriment of Nigeria. Now, let's look at the key provision of the Act. The Petroleum Industrial Act was on governance and institutional reforms. The main purpose is to reform the petroleum industry, and two main bodies were formed to support this, to regulate and manage this, and which are the NUPRC and the NMDPRA, and also to transform NNPC into NNPC Limited. This has been done. The fiscal framework is to overhaul royalty, tax, and cost recovery structure across the value chain. Now, this purpose, if the financial framework objective of being able to collect tax and royalties and also to ensure that there is cost recovery across the value chain cannot be achieved through importation. It is only when goods are produced in Nigeria that all this can be achieved. Also, it also has the host community development. That is supposed to create with all community development to also ensure that the host community protect the pipelines from vandalism and also to be a partaker in the petroleum value chain. How can the Nigerians in the oil producing states benefit from this if the products are not being produced in Nigeria but are being imported? This is also, its actions by this has also negate this part of the Petroleum Industrial Act. Also, it's also to protect environmental and asset decommissioning, enforce cleanup and abandonment protocol. That is the environment impact of petroleum production and usage is also an important aspect of the Petroleum Act. Importing substandard fuel, which has a great impact on users' uh, motor engines and also polluting the atmosphere, is not an environmental friendly act by the management of Farouk Ahmed, NMDPRA. Transparency and accountability is supposed to be strictly adhered for monitoring and reporting the requirement. Has Farouk been transparent? Has he shown any sense of accountability in its management to the people and to the local producers? Its only accountability is only towards the marketers who are importing substandard fuel into Nigeria. Now, how are these violated? What are the aspects of the Petroleum Industrial Act that were violated by the act of the NMDPRA under the leadership of Farouk Ahmed? The mandate is to market development mandate is to stop and reduce to the barest minimum importation of fuel, of petrol. So is undue import licensing an escalation of this and is total disregard and blatant violation of the Petroleum and undermining of the Petroleum Industrial Act. With that, the price regulation and price is responsibility for price regulation is also affected by its withholding pricing approval to Dangote, delaying it in favor of the marketers, created distortion and competition. It declared a distorted competition, which allowed the marketer to be able to undermine the distribution of Dangote's products. The also Petrol Act also is meant to to have supply security, to allow us to have our own security by not depending on the vagaries of importation or foreign entity. Giving and issuing excessive import license is total negation of these objectives of the Petroleum Industrial Act. And this weaken the Naira, a depletion of our foreign reserves, which invariably will cause inflation. Infrastructural utilization is also, and quality assurance is also very much on demand because Dangote have to resort into exporting of its products to America, to India, and to other countries because it was being denied access to full access to markets in Nigeria. And this also invariably causes inflation uh, and inflation of prices. Also, the lack of transparency in data and also its lack of transparency in quality in monitoring quality of imported petrol. It's allowing substandard production petrol imports. It's total violation of the standards set by its organization, that is the NMDPRA, for Euro 5, the minimum quality in Euro 5 set by Nigeria and West Africa for any petroleum product that have to be sold in Nigeria. This is a great disservice to Nigeria and a great undermining of Nigerian effort towards being self-sufficient in petroleum production without resorting to importation. My concern is why does Farouk Ahmed engage in this? What is his motive? What exactly is his interest? And who is he protecting? Is it the consumer or the marketers? Now let's look more in depth with also further illustrations. And I will go forth to understand. Now, in his in his we have specifically gone into this. Uh, bear with me. What did he possible with impossible gain in this? And bear with me. Now, what does he have to gain? If we now he under his he is a main uh, his main justification was that he's trying to prevent monopoly. But is this prevention of Dangote Refinery to become a monopoly, despite the fact that monopoly in the petroleum industry has been sustained with NNPC for more than 3 or 4 decades? Why is he so important to Farouk Ahmed? And what are the implications of this issues of anti-monopoly tendency. Its anti-monopoly tendencies tends to create rent-sinking opportunities for the marketers. The undue importation of licensing and excessive import license open door for kickbacks or political patronage. So, is this an alternative to Dangote being a monopolistic company? With this, what impact also will that have? This will undermine the refineries. It will ensure that just like they did for NMPC, a refinery in Port Harcourt, in Kaduna, in Warri, they will frustrate and make the industry, the refinery, unproductive and liquidate. So they want to frustrate Dangote to pack up so that Nigeria can resort back to importation, full importation of petrol with the resultant petroleum subsidy. Also, the fight against monopoly also concentrate power consolidation. With its power, is by encouraging the marketers, Farouk Ahmed is building for himself a power that is not given to him. With any pricing approval, controls import approvals, consolidating influence over market. His interest is to control, to have influence rather than in the regulation. He wants to control and determine out of the legal provisions of the Petroleum Industry Act to give himself undue power and influence. This creates a great distortion in competition. It's also building network benefits. In this way, is the excess import reliance align with import marketers, providing support and loyalty. By giving this the marketers, import marketers, this laxity is also having a network of influence and loyalty from the marketers, but invariably his own personal interest is damaging and sabotaging national Nigeria economy and weakening of the value of the Naira. Its narrative control, negative narrative and distorted narrative control is to manipulate Dangote output narrative to maintain importation. Giving a false narration of the production level output of Dangote is meant for him, give him opportunity to justification for him to issue more import licenses to his cronies and friends, undermining the fuel quality, the standard, violating the Euro 5 quality standard that is expected of Nigeria products. However, the issue about his children, these are brought out Farouk's fragrance and flagrant display of wealth and abuse of power. The breakdown of his children education expenses, even if he has his for the next 20 years, his salary cannot justify these expenses. It was only been appointed in 2021, and he has amassed for himself so much wealth for him to be able to be paying $5 million education fees for his children. Now, how are we going to create accountability? What are the remedies for this? What should the government do? Let's look at the other side of his argument. The power of Farouk Ahmed was totally being abused. One would have expected a counter uh, authority to have also confirmed the output verification. With the show of a flagrant disregard for truth and abuse of power, one would have expected Nigerian Extractive Industrial Transparency Initiative, NEITI, who also have the authority for output verification, to have also do this. And also with that, there will have been a transparent accountability of actual production of what Dangote is producing. Failure of this had put Nigerian economy into serious risk. The import roadmap, that is the reduction of importation of petroleum roadmap, as identified by the PIA, should also have been monitored by the Ministry of Petroleum. The minister also have a responsibility to visit Dangote Refinery and also to call into order the excesses of NMDPRA in its excessive issuance of import licenses for petrol. The fuel quality also that are being guaranteed by the Petroleum Industrial Act should also have been monitored by the Standard Organization of Nigeria, along with the NMDPRA. Failure to do this has weakened the monitoring of standard products in Nigeria. This gives room for concern why all these bodies are also fail in their responsibility to provide this information. Even if Farouk is concerned about monopoly and the pricings of petroleum in Nigeria, this can be jointly be monitored and controlled through the Petroleum Product Pricing Regulatory Agency, who can also concern and express concern in any flagrant disregard of pricing by Dangote to curb any excesses of its dominance of the market. So also, the financial integrity of the Dangote as well as the marketers should have been also be monitored by the Petroleum Product Pricing Regulatory Authority as well as the Ministry of Finance. And I will expect the regulatory minister in the Ministry of the Economy and the Minister of Finance to take a serious look at this, because this has created a serious issue on the risk of Nigeria economy and a great risk and sabotage to our economic and petroleum independence. So, what is the next step? One, we expect all these agencies to now sit up, meet up, and also create all this independent body to meet up and monitor the activities of the marketers that are importing substandard goods and also disrupting the agenda of Nigeria to win us from importation of petroleum products. To a great extent, I believe the removal or the resignation of Farouk Ahmed is well justified and is a good thing for Nigeria to reclaim its trajectory of creating a petroleum hub for West Africa and Africa in general through development of our local production and not through importation by marketers. We are supposed to encourage and assist the NMDPRA, should support and assist and give every assistance for new refineries and also for existing refineries and the modular and the big refineries to continue production and to reduce importation. Our monopoly should be internal. We cannot be saying we are monopoly with who? The marketers are not producer. So how can they be claiming of monopoly? They are saboteurs. They don't want the interest of Nigeria. They don't have the interest of Nigeria at stake. They don't have the interest of the consumers at stake. Only thing they are interested is their own personal gains and interest. Nigeria and the government should support Dangote and all other bodies, Nigerians that are trying to create a local production of any products and to attract more foreign investment and to give support and backing for any industry that are trying to relieve Nigeria of any importation of any product. Thank you so much. I believe if this is being done, we will reach our greater height earlier than ever. Thank you for listening to the end, and please continue to subscribe And I promise you, I will always give a quality presentation on issues in Nigeria and Africa. I will also ensure that you are well informed so that you can also appreciate the activities of government and also to be able to support the government and our uh, people, Nigeria, all Nigerians that are trying to make a difference in Nigeria. In Nigeria. Thank you so much. God bless you. And I see you in my next podcast, which will become very, very, very soon. So thank you very much. Uh, See you soon. Bear with me.